Part of the process with building a car like this is having it engineered. So this car's Queensland Rego, and it's been done by Dr. Tim, obviously from Queensland. So Tim's done quite a lot of articles for Street Machine magazine. So he's been involved from day one, and part of the process that we're working on now is the torsion rigidity test to make sure that with all the changes that have been going on with the front and the rear and the changes of firewall and all, that we've actually hopefully increased our torsion rigidity, which I have great confidence that we've done, but obviously make sure it's better than what the original car was. So Tim sent down some photos of what other people have done, and I've seen other people doing rigidity tests. So what we're doing now is I've drawn up a bit of a mud map, and Darren's just fabricating that now, and we'll get that all bolted up to the car, and we'll take you through the process as we do it all. And then Tim's down next week and we'll include that, and that'll give us the whole process from start to finish. So part of the fabrication here is we don't have a lot of real heavy equipment. So what I did was I went to the steel place and actually got them to make the plates and punch the holes for me, which is just a godsend, because trying to drill 1/2 inch holes and accurately is a bit of a nightmare. So I basically bought lengths, got them to cut it down for me. You know, we can obviously cut tube and stuff, but just for 50 bucks, they did all the cutting, made all the plates for me, and now we're just putting all that together. These ones here will actually bolt to the floor on the rear, and this is our pivot point for the front. So when it gets bolted to the car, that'll act as a pivot, so you'll see how that comes together. Well, in this episode I'm really happy to actually invite Tim. So Tim Bartrop's from Dr. Tim, and how are you, Tim?
I'm very well, thanks, Howard. Good to be here.
Early start this morning?
Very early, so 4:30.
So I picked Tim up off the airport this morning and brought him down to Wollongong from Sydney. And Tim's here today to do the torsion and beam test.
Correct, yeah.
So people might have seen some of Tim's work in Street Machine magazine. Was the last time I've seen you were doing articles for them for a while?
Yeah, I've written for them for about a 2-year period now.
Yeah.
It's been interesting trying to think of topics that keep people interested as well.
That's it. I mean, we have the same problem with what we do. But Tim's primarily works out of Queensland, so every state is different with engineering. So what we're doing here now is specific to this car for Queensland, because the car owners in Queensland will be registered in Queensland, and it's being registered as a modified XC Falcon. So part of that is for now, because we've made some mods, we need to make sure it's strong enough.
Yeah, because of the high level of modifications, it has to have the torsion and beam test. And then at the end, Howard, as you know, it's got to have some dynamic tests. We've got to do a lane change test, a simulated brake test, and a drive-by noise test. So they're all to come when the car's finished,
when
ready
we get
for the
done.
road.
Yeah, hopefully we get done one day.
But this is a static test where we've twisted the car and measured how strong it was.
Yep.
And we've also stuck a bunch of people in it and measured how strong it is as a beam as well. Yeah.
So obviously, as we're talking about that in the past tense, we've filmed all that, and we'll add that in as we go. But the issue is the fact that, you know, it's got those mods, and I was confident we'd pass. So how did we go?
Yeah, well, the preliminary results show that it's about 5,100 Newton meters per degree. So that's, in layman's terms, that's 510 kilograms stuck out a metre from the centre of the car on a lever, and only bending the car 1 degree between the front and the back.
Yeah, so it's interesting when the ram's in there, the 1 degree turned into...
We ended up with 49 millimetres.
49 mil travel at that 1 mil, so you'll see that all, you know, as we go into the video. And then once again with the beam, we ended up putting 4 adults in there rather than putting in bags of souls. Sorry, 5 adults, because it's a 5-seater. Yeah.
That's right.
Yep.
And there, the 1 millimetre is the criteria for a pass, and the car came up at 0.4 of a millimetre. So,
nice. So nice.
It's a pretty strong car, Howard. Well done.
So, and of course those that are following the program would know that we've put the FG floor in there to accommodate the FG interior and the transmission and those sorts of things. But what we were able to do was to utilise the inner sill from the FG and still keep the XC. The fact that they were almost identical was crazy, but we've sort of doubled up in a lot of areas, which gives us a lot of strength.
Yeah, and bigger tubs helps, and the linkage of the tubs to the rear firewall and to the parcel shelf transfers the load back into the roof. Makes it all a stronger car. So you've got to think of the car as a complete structure. The roof and the body are all working together to give it the strength. Yeah.
So we passed that one, so we need to do some more work now so we can get back and see how the thing drives and do all those sorts of things. But Tim, thanks for coming down, and we'll obviously be in touch and talk about things to come as we progress and get through this series and get the whole thing finished.
We've moved past the critical stage now, Hal. We know the basic vehicle is ready to keep going. So
yeah, I'll start getting some filler in it now.
Time to finish it.
Yeah,
Come
that's
on.
for sure. So just tell her the story you told me about putting it through the airport.
Oh yeah, I was worried. I was worried about getting this through the airport security, and when it arrived in Sydney I was pretty happy that it got here, because otherwise the trip was going to be pretty useless without this. But it made it, so we're all good to go. Basically what we've got here is a normal inner pack, cylinder here, pressure pack there, and an inline pressure gauge like so, and this will determine the force we're going to apply to the car. That's my 1 metre mark.
That's your 1 metre mark.
Ready? Ready.
I might get you to leave that for a minute. The moment of truth there.
Alright, we'll start at 250 psi. We're going to target to go to 1,000, which would be the equivalent of 6,000 Newton meters by the area of the cylinder and that pressure. But if we're looking good, I'm going to keep going.
Okay.
And test the car to its max.
Alright, well if we don't break it, we're good.
Alright, here we go. You can see the 500 mark there. We're halfway now. Take a reading. It won't be very much. Alright, 750.
What do you got there? So there you go, Tim. So you've now got your 1,000
PSI.
1,000 PSI pressure, and we can see you can see the angle on that now. So yes, we've got our measurements. So we'll take the pressure back off the car and find out what all those numbers turn into. So
yep.
How much flex we got there? How much is that from?
I have to work it out on the computer.
Yeah, no, I mean the distance.
Oh, yeah, we've got 38 mil.
So that's gone up 38 mil. So he'll put all that in the computer now and let's see what we've got. And we'll take the pressure off and hopefully it all goes back to where it started.
Here we go.
Beautiful. All aboard.
Alright, in you go, guys. And shut the door, yeah?
Yep.
0.4 of a millimetre.
That all?
Yeah.
Righto, Tim, so we're nearly at the end of it. So just explain to us what we're doing here. We've obviously seen us jumping in and out of the car, so, and we've got an indicator set up, so just let me know what we're up to.
Yeah, that was a good test, wasn't it? So when we talk about the torsion and beam test, they're two separate tests. So we've done the twisting test, the torsion test, to test how strong the chassis is in torsion, which simulates going over bumps and dropping into piles.
Actual suspension. And
correct. Yep. But we also want to know how strong the car is as a beam. So when we talk about a car, you know, we all know what a beam looks like in terms of the structure of a house, for example.
Yep.
So we treat the car as a beam, and we want to know how strong it is. Is it going to bend in the middle and bow like a banana, or is it not?
Yeah. So we've effectively put 5 people in it, which is,
yes,
you could do the same by putting 400 kilos in there.
Yeah, 68 kilos per passenger position.
Okay.
So 5 times 68.
Yep.
We've used 5 people instead.
Yep.
And we took a measurement here in the midpoint of the wheelbase of the car.
So before and after, and we ended up with what, around half a mil?
0.4 of a mil.
Yeah, that's nice. So nice and strong.
Very good result.
Yeah. So we'll show you all the other stuff, but that's the second part. And just so that people understand as well, the car's positioned on the stands at the centre of the suspension points, front and back, so that if the car's sitting on wheels, it'll be sitting in those same positions where the weight.
Yeah, exactly. There's no point in having the test at the front and the back of the car because all the action happens between the wheels.
Exactly.
So they're the ones transmitting the load of the road to the car, and the load of the car to the road. So
very good.
The rest of it is pretty much overhang.
Awesome.
While I'm here with Howard, I've just done some preliminary calculations of the torsional strength of this vehicle. I've actually done 2 versions. In the first one I didn't allow for the fact that there was some take up in the rear part of the car, so this is version 2 on screen here. The results are really good. We've got 5100 Newton meters per degree as the final result. It's still to be finalised when I get back to my office. I'll give Howard a proper version then. Nice straight line graph and showing the beam test at 0.4 millimeters as well. So if you want to zoom in, you might just see a bit more of this on screen. So here's the chart of results. The slope of this line is the torsional strength of the vehicle, and the result numerically is down here.
Well, Dr. Tim's gone, and the temporary results that he did while he was here look really pleasing. So we're looking at like 40% stronger than the original car, so really happy about that. Hope you enjoy the process, because I haven't seen it actually documented like that before, and we now can put that to bed. I'm really happy about that. I feel so much better about the whole build, knowing that that's passed. We can get on now and start doing some filler work, and the next show you'll see, we'll be actually starting to do some body work. Oh yeah, don't forget, subscribe, like, comment. I always answer the comments. Really appreciate your support. Thanks for joining. With all this rain, it's been just about impossible to keep the ute clean, but we've got a couple of days break in the weather at the moment, so the wheels looking pretty average. I've done a few trips up to Sydney with Tim and stuff, so I use the aluminium wheel cleaner on my painted wheels, and I find that's nice and gentle and soft on them, and I've been doing it for years with this product. So I do them dry, so I'm just going to give it a coat on the whole lot, including the tyre, and then I like to get inside as well, all in there in the back. So I had these wheels all off for Summernats and give them a really good clean, so they should come up really nice. So just got to leave that for probably 5 minutes, and then I'll give them a wash down and a hose off. I'm going to use an old sponge, nice soft sponge that I use. Gets it easy to get it in all around the spokes. So that's just got a bit of car wash in it. Just my normal Mother's car wash. Now these wheels have been washed quite a few times with the ceramic wash and coat, and I think that helps just to keep everything at bay, to make it a bit easier to clean. I'll just run that sponge in around the back there. Give the calipers a bit of a wipe over. That's pretty much a done deal. I'll give it a microfiber and that'll be it. Makes for a pretty easy job. So obviously I do these before I wash the whole car, and I've got to do the car now, but I just thought I'd show you my process with their products to get a good result. Oh yeah, and don't forget, subscribe, hit the button, do all those things. I'm going to do that again.